afternoon and welcome back to Hot and Spicy Guyana. How have you guys been doing? I hope you've all been staying well, keeping safe, and remembering to wear your masks when you go out. Guys, today on Hot and Spicy Guyana, I have a wonderful pumpkin and shrimp recipe that can also be paired with the wonderful roti or rice, whatever you choose to have it with. It goes really well with both. Today I'm going to be showing you my version of how I make pumpkin and shrimp. So if you want to learn, just sit back, relax, and join me for a wonderful and simple recipe, guys. Let's get into it. Pumpkin and shrimp is one of my favorite Guyanese recipes simply because it is enriched with a sweet flavor combined with the spices and ingredients that you may already have in your kitchen. So for the recipe today, I have 2 packs of Pacific white shrimp, piece of a pumpkin, green scallions, grape tomatoes. I have 8 of these. And guys, this is optional. I have some baby spinach as well, which I'm going to add. You do not have to do this, but because I had it in the fridge and I don't want it to go bad, I'm just going to add it to my pumpkin and shrimp today. I also have half of an onion, which I've gone ahead and chopped. I have 4 flakes of garlic. I've also chopped that. I have table salt, which I'm going to be using to taste, and I have 1 tablespoon of oil. I also have 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. This is optional, and not many people add sugar to their pumpkin, but I love doing so because I find it just gives it a unique taste. I also have 2 tablespoons of all-purpose seasoning. Now this is what the all-purpose seasoning looks like, guys. As I told you, and if you're watching all of my videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of the all-purpose seasoning. You can pick this up at the Chinese grocery store or at any local Caribbean grocery store. I love this, guys. I always use it in all of my food because I love the taste that it brings out and the flavor that it gives to the food. For my shrimp, I'm going to be using the chicken seasoning for prepping, half of a lime to wash it off. I'm also going to be using some dried thyme and the green seasoning. This is also another one of my favorite that I use when I'm prepping my meat because it has the onion, pepper, garlic, everything combined in one. It's so easy and it makes my life much more simpler because I don't have to go preparing the onions and the garlic separately, guys. You can also pick this up at any nation's grocery store. That's where I picked that up, or at any Chinese grocery stores as well. You can check in the seasoning section, the wet seasoning section, and you're gonna find this awesome green seasoning. You can also make it yourself, but then again, who wants to go through that when you can just pick it up at the stores? Now I'm going to get prepping the shrimp and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So guys, now I have the 2 packs of Pacific white shrimp, which I've gone ahead and cut the bags and just throw it in here. These shrimp are already peeled and cleaned. This makes everything much more simpler. So I love getting these because it's already cleaned. Now I'm just going to add water and I'm going to wash the shrimp off and continue seasoning. If you're Caribbean, guys, you know that you have to wash your meat and season it really well. It just gives it a nice flavor and it gets that taste off of it. So stay and watch with me while I wash the shrimp and season it so you can see how to do that. Here I'm just going to cut my green onions, tomatoes, pumpkin, and also wash it. That gives me time for my shrimp to marinate. You can also marinate your shrimp from the night before, but because I didn't have that time, I just did it on the day of. No biggie, it's the same. It's still going to come out tasting wonderful. Now guys, my veggies are all prepped and it's time to start cooking. Now guys, when you're doing the pumpkin and shrimp, you don't want to add the shrimp first. I know it's accustomed to fry your shrimp or whatever meat you have up first and then adding your vegetables or whatever. But because shrimp is very tender, you don't want to add that first. I'm going to be adding my pumpkin, letting it fry and get soft, and then adding in my shrimp. That way the shrimp isn't overcooked or it gets too tough. The first thing I'm doing is adding oil to my pan, and I'm going to let this heat. After it is heated, I'm then going to be adding my onions, garlic, scallion, tomatoes. Let that fry for about 20 seconds or so, and then I'm going to add my pumpkin. This is going to be heating, and then I'm going to add my onion, garlic, tomatoes, scallions, and I'm going to show you guys the next step. As you can see guys, my pan is heated, the oil is hot, and I've added my onions, garlic, scallions, and tomatoes. This is frying. I'm just going to let this fry for about 20 seconds. Then I'm going to add in my pumpkin along with my all-purpose seasoning, salt to taste, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, as you can see, after frying the onions, garlic, scallions, and tomatoes for 20 seconds, I've now added the pumpkin in. I'm just going to let this fry for another 20 seconds. Then I'm going to add the sugar, all-purpose seasoning, salt to taste, and I'm going to continue cooking. At this point, guys, you just want the pumpkin to get soft. Make sure you're readjusting your heat as required, and still leave the shrimp and the baby spinach out. I'm not going to add that in as yet because, like I mentioned, it gets really soft and shrimp can get tough if overcooked as well. So you have to know when to add it in. I'm going to add it in just at the point when the pumpkin is get really soft, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So I'm just going to let this cook for another 20 seconds before adding the sugar and all-purpose seasoning. Now, as you can see, I've added in my pumpkin. I'm just going to let this cook until it gets soft. I've also added to the pot the rest of my all-purpose seasoning and sugar. I'm going to now cover this, guys, and let it get soft before adding the shrimp and baby spinach. Now, when you're cooking the pumpkin, guys, just make sure you cover with a lid. That way it evaporates with the water cooks it, and it gets softer. If you don't do that, then it's gonna burn. Also, keep in mind that you have to readjust your heat accordingly. If you have it too high, again, the pumpkin is gonna burn. And don't forget to cover so that it gets soft. At this point, this is the consistency that I'm looking for. I'm now going to add my shrimp and baby spinach and let this cook until the shrimp is cooked for another, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes. I've now added the baby spinach and shrimp. and I've just added a tiny bit of water. Not a lot, just a tiny bit so that it cooks, guys. Now I'm going to cover with the lid and let this cook for another 10 to 15 minutes like I said, so the pumpkin gets softer, the shrimp cooks, and the baby spinach cooks as well. And now I'm going to put the lid on this and let this cook, guys. Now after cooking for about 10 minutes, when I've added the shrimp and baby spinach, I've removed the lid. I'm now going to let this fry down so that the water evaporates from it. Guys, when you put the water on it, it steams and it helps the pumpkin to cook and get softer, so it loses just a little bit of water. To let that water reduce, you have to remove your lid. If not, and you like it the way it is, then fine, your pumpkin is done. But I'm just going to let this cook for a little bit more so the water comes out of it, guys. Now this is what it looks like after it's been really cooked, guys. This is how we like it in our household. I'm now going to take this down and we're gonna get ready for lunch. There you have it, guys, pumpkin and shrimp recipe. Thank you for sticking to the end. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And also you can share the video with someone else who wants to know the recipe. Comment down below, let me know how you make yours. Until next time, bye.